2, so call the Finance Committee to order. The Finance Committee is, let's go ahead and do the Pledge of Allegiance first. Sorry. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The Finance Committee is a standing subcommittee consisting of 2 council members, currently Paul McCoy and Colleen Baker, the city manager, the city treasurer, and the finance director. The Finance Committee considers and makes recommendations on matters referred to it by the city council relating to finance, budget, audits, capital planning, and debt. We'll go on to public comment. Public participation is limited to those items listed on the agenda. If your comments do not concern an item listed on the agenda, please address the Finance Committee at the next meeting. The rest of it, I'm going to allow you to read, other than please speak from the podium, state your name for the record prior to providing comments. Please address the committee as a whole. And if you have documents, please provide 6 copies, and please limit your remarks to 3 minutes. So we'll go ahead and open it up for public comment. Thank you, Lorenzo.
Yeah, Lorenzo Love. It's the same thing. I mean, nobody can ever make a comment about something not on the agenda. Because if it's not on the agenda, you wait till next meeting, and then it's the same thing. If it's not on the agenda, wait till next meeting. So that's this can never talk about anything not on the agenda, even if it relates to the city finances. So that needs to change. It is stifling public comment.
So noted. Thank you, Lorenzo. Yeah, go ahead.
Because I think we had kind of talked a little bit briefly last time this came up, and then we talked about really public comment should be directed to the city council on a lot of items, but arbitrarily, do you want to just change the language on this so that you can give general public comment at this time? I don't know. Or do you want to keep it the way it is?
I have no problem with changing. I have no problem with changing the language.
It's written more like a special meeting agenda, where special meetings are very specific to only the items on that agenda, whereas this is a muni code committee. This isn't an ad hoc. So I think we should just change it to allow.
I really don't. It does not matter.
It doesn't matter one way or the next, but I know it matters to the members of the audience, and it just to be above board. I don't know.
Madam Councilwoman, thoughts?
Thank you. I think that if we just delete the sentence, if your comments do not concern an item listed on this agenda, please address the Finance Committee at the next meeting. I think that should probably take care of it.
Yeah, so Cindy, can you make a note of that for the next one of these, or can you then just change your template on this agenda?
I'm changing the template now.
Perfect, thank you.
Okay, so we're going to delete, just so we're clear, and so also the public knows, we're going to delete if your comments do not concern an item listed on this agenda, please address the Finance Committee versus the next meeting that's going to be struck.
Correct.
Okay. You're welcome. Any more discussion on that? Okay. Thank you very much. Any more public comment? Good. Well, we got one thing done. That's positive. That's good.
Feeling accomplished today.
Yes, and it's a good thing. This is this is public comment follow-up. This is the time we just for the Finance Committee or the city manager to respond to public comments. We just did that, and we directed the city clerk to amend the language on public comment to start that on our future agendas for Finance Committee. Is that okay? Number 4, discussion review of the audited financial statements for fiscal year 23-24. And then that's A, and B is discussion regarding update of the fiscal year 25-26 budget and the creation of the 26-27 budget. And just for the record, because I know the public that's here knows this, but in Yreka, we do run, we tabulate a 2-year budget. We don't do a 1-year budget, which is all the state requires. And a lot of cities do a 1-year, but we find it easier for us to do a 2-year budget and for our planning. So
Yep.
I'll turn it over to our finance director.
Thank you, Paul. First, in front of you is our independent auditors management letter. It's just saying they came, they did the audit. We were nice to them. We provided them with all the required information and they had no issues. The second one is the status of a prior year recommendation they gave us, which was to up our loan reserve. We did that as soon as they brought it to our attention. So that finding, it's not really a finding, that recommendation has been cleared. Then I will direct you to the larger binder, the one with all the tabs on the side. First and foremost, the audit went great. We're still in a healthy position. Everything was, there's no big concerns came up, so it's all positive. If you turn to page 27 in the large binder, it'll be part of the financial section. Should say balance sheet governmental funds at the top. Are you in the large binder? Yes, you are. It should look like this.
What page did you say?
27?
Oh, 27. Thank you.
Yep.
Got it.
Okay. So before you is the different funds that make up our general fund. So we have our general fund, streets and roads, our special revenue, and our special grants. As you can see, our fund balances are healthy in these. Overall, between all of them, we have about a $19 million fund balance, which helps us cover all of our restricted things that have been restricted by you, that we have to have that cash available, our required reserves. So those offsetting our loans, those type of things, as well as your reserve policies that you have, as a council, have asked us to do. If you flip to the next page and look at page 29. I already need new glasses. This is not a good sign. We came into the good. So our revenues exceeded our expenses. So we were able to put money back into our reserves, which is a positive, considering that you never know what's going to happen in the general fund and when we're going to need those funds available. So it's always positive when we're able to do that. But as you all know, we are somewhat headed in towards a recession. And having this cushion built into our reserves to help us ride out harder times is going to be very frugal of us to do, is to have those funds put away. If you go to page 32, you will see our enterprise funds. Again, we have some healthy fund balances. We're looking positive, which is excellent. What I will direct your attention to is on page 33, about the middle of the page, it says operating income and loss. You will see that both funds came in to the negative, which means we had to dip into our reserves to pay for expenses that came up during the year. Nothing outside of what I think we budgeted for, if memory serves, which I could look, but nothing too much to be alarmed about. But it is something you need to be aware of, that we had a number of additional expenses this year than what we brought in revenue. I will then direct you to the little binder. This is our single audit. A single audit is required when an entity receives more than $750,000 in federal funds, which during this fiscal year, we were still receiving our ARPA funding, which is about $500,000. So we very easily got pushed over the edge on that. So every year they come in and they look at those specific uh not loans, good grief, grants, spit it out. And they analyze each one of those grants individually to make sure that we are adhering to the grant requirements and we're reporting back. The unfortunate side is last year we had 3 findings in our single audit. One of which we did resolve, which was we didn't make appropriate budget adjustments for what we spent. That was rectified this year and cleared off of our list. We got a new one and it's the very first one on here, and it seems like a lot of gobbledygook, but just because of the name of it. But basically what it's saying is the spreadsheet that I handed them wasn't the final version matching my financials that I gave them. So I don't know if you guys recall or not, but we had program income of about $500,000 that we were working with CDBG to see if we could put towards a specific project. We kept waiting for their approval, and we finally got it, but we got it in like July, August. And so when I made the appropriate journal entry to account for it, it didn't make it into my spreadsheet. So that's what the first finding is saying you need to make sure it matches perfectly before you hand it over.
And
Page
okay.
10. Sorry, page 10.
Page 10. Thank you.
I apologize. So that's the first finding. The corrective action plan is to not do that again. Just ensure that it reconciles back to the financial statements. The second finding is that, we had some receivables that didn't get accounted for retroactively as they should have been. This is one we've had before. Again, this goes back to some of our grants that we didn't know hadn't been closed out. We had a bill from a vendor that was a significant dollar amount, but I had never received it. Nobody in my office had ever received it. And then we got it in October. So it was past when we normally would have accrued for something, and it just didn't get accounted for. It is accounted for in the financial statements. We were able to rectify it, but they're just pointing out that that was not taken care of timely. And then our third finding is the filing of project reimbursement claims. We had this one last year, and there was a number of grants that we were trying to get amended, and the entities were like, don't file for reimbursement until the amendment happens so that it goes appropriately against it. This one was our South Oregon project, and we were so close to being done in July 1st, that we were trying to wait to just do one final reimbursement, and we ended up waiting too long. So that's what that one is. Anybody have any questions? That's kind of the 50,000-foot view.
No, I don't. You had one of the first one is not a repeat finding, which that's
It's a new one,
that's good,
yes.
yeah, and the others are more easily
Yeah.
fixed. So
It's a communication with just being more and more communicative every day, and just knowing where projects are at. And I have been doing monthly check-ins with grant reimbursements, just making sure that I know exactly where the reimbursements are at.
that's wonderful.
Yeah, and I think having talked to Emily, it sounds like there's a requirement of a spreadsheet that they
Mhm.
want to see. And so I just advised to put even the state grants on there and then utilize that in the department head meeting as like a key performance indicator to go over it consistently. But part of this is a byproduct of how busy the city is that there's I think there's a misconception of like staff, like the requirements that are needed to actually operate an organization. The requirements are needed over here. They're not necessarily needed out in the field, although you can make an argument that we need 10 more public works employees, in my opinion. But ultimately, to manage all of these grants that are coming in and out, and we also have an employee who really wants to have a really put together package when the grant completes, rather than meet these deadlines. But she now understands that we need to meet these deadlines, even if it's just okay, I'm doing all this paperwork to do $10,000 right now when I want to wait 6 more months and do $6,010,000, which makes way more sense to do all of that labor. So the fact that grants are being utilized over multiple year time periods are why this item continues to come back. But I think now it should be under control would be my guess moving forward because Emily has bridged the gap with that particular employee from
Yes,
my standpoint.
absolutely. And Trent, we've received all of our funds. There's not been an issue with that whatsoever. Funds are coming back in, flowing, no problems there whatsoever. It's just a timing issue.
Well, you and I've talked about this, not in relationship to this, but that's why it's important to not go after a $60,000 grant. It's the same amount of work in a $60,000 grant to redo South Oregon as there is to get a $600,000 or $1 million grant to redo South Oregon. We have to do all of the paperwork to follow up on it. And if we're going to do it, we need to be able to do it all in one job rather than piecemeal together with a $10,000, a $50,000, an $80,000 grant. So thank you. Did you have any questions or comments, Mrs. Baker?
No, thank you.
So
So I just am looking for a recommendation to take this before council for final approval.
well, I mean, I think you've explained it sufficiently. Absolutely. I would recommend that it goes before council.
Okay.
I think it's time to take it before them. They may have other questions and you can address those at that time.
Absolutely.
We're a committee, so your thoughts, Councilwoman and City Manager?
I think they're ready to go before the city council.
Okay.
Because we have new city council member, it
Mhm.
might be beneficial to give a little background on why we do audits and,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I can reach out to Councilmember Claire.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was blanking there for a second.
yeah.
Yeah, I will reach out to him for sure. Good suggestion.
Anything else to add, City Manager?
No, I think it's ready to go to council. Thank you.
Okay, so it sounds like your recommendation
Yeah.
would be the same. So it sounds like we're unanimous right here, the four of us. Okay. Thank you very much for sharing that with us. Are you prepared to discuss the regarding update of the fiscal year 25-26 and budget and creation of 26-27?
Yeah,
Okey doke.
I just wanted to briefly kind of get you guys up to speed. If you recall, we passed the 25-26 budget in the fall. And I told you then that it did not include the sales tax revenue or the firefighters because I wasn't counting my chickens until they were hatched. Our chickens have hatched. And so we're doing a pretty boisterous update of the budget for 25-26, and we're creating 26-27. Like Councilmember McCoy mentioned, we are only required to do a 1-year budget, but we do a 2-year because our intentions is we're constantly looking at what's coming ahead. Like, what do we need to reduce in the first year to help the second year go better? Or how are we gonna push off projects to make things work? As I'm sure some of you are aware, my personal opinion is that we're headed towards a recession. So we're already kind of seeing a 3 to 4% decline in sales tax revenue coming in the current year. So I'm paring back some of our revenue projections in the next fiscal year in anticipation of that. Better to plan low on the revenue side and be happily surprised than the other way around. Plan for the worst. And that's what I want to make sure that we are being cognizant of as we go into this budget season. We are in the middle of negotiations. We got to keep that in the back of our head. How is that going to impact us? What is that going to look like? Other financial things that are kind of in the mist, we've got some, projects that we've committed to that we have to finish, that we have to give our general fund match to. So we don't have a lot of options on some of those, but we have sent out our budget worksheets to all of our department heads. They are due back to me June 1st. So I can start analyzing how it looks in totality and what, where I'm gonna have to ask for even more paring back if needed, or how that's all gonna fall out. I don't really have a good idea of that right now because I still need to find out from them what are their expectations for the next 2 years, plus finalizing salary projections. And then we have a number of departments that we split back out based off of FTEs. So like HR, their department gets split back out. So it just takes some time. Probably won't have a budget in front of you guys until probably August, September, which is pretty normal for us. But bear in mind, we do have a past 25-26 budget, so we can continue to operate. There's no issues there. So I just wanted to get you guys kind of thinking in that fashion of this is what we're looking at. We are working closely with Cameron Weist and Andrew Flynn to do our long-term financial planning. So they're getting these financials in our past financials, they're getting our budgets. We're including them on any discussions of like, hey, as soon as we have a somewhat solid budget to share with them of, hey, this is what we think the revenue is going to impact and this is what the firefighters are. So it's a lot of moving pieces right now that we're trying to coordinate with everybody because I want them to be able to make the best financial plan with as much information as I can provide them. So this item, I had it on here just as kind of a, hey, this is where our thought process is going. This is how we're currently trying to formulate a budget. I don't know what's going to happen in the future. I don't know if we're going to have a huge recession or a baby one or none at all. I don't know, but I personally am planning for the worst. Of course, the city manager has oversight into that and can give their recommendations. But that's my current game plan.
It's a good introduction.
Yeah, and I think that's really wise. I think with the moving pieces, it's time to slow the organization down. The big project is the fire hall. So even if a recession doesn't come, being frugal at this point, it makes a lot of sense. We're in a better situation than pretty much any other agency in the county that's local. And so we can weather storms because we do have some fund balance. But I think it makes more sense to really, I try to underestimate revenue, quite frankly, in an exaggerated state, just to get to that break even point when things do go negative, which I think you're correct, they probably will. But we also benefit from the fact that we are the major shopping hub in this county with the Walmart. But like Emily said, we're seeing a dip in sales tax, and another agency, I think at a Lola meeting, made a commentary about a dip in TOT and a dip in sales tax as well for them, a major dip on revenue. We haven't seen that. They mentioned a 17%. I feel like
And we're not trending nearly that.
that was Mount
Shasta, I
Shasta. That
believe.
was Jeremy Collins, I think.
Wow.
Yeah, so we're not trending nearly
Jeffrey.
that amount.
Yeah, that was at the Lola here at the casino. He was kept talking about it. And but yeah, we're not trending like that, but it may be signs of a future
Future
issue.
indication.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see us ever trending like Mount Shasta. I mean, in the 40 years I've been here, because they're very dependent on tourism, much more than we are. And because we're the county seat, we do pick up a lot of people that stop, whether it's off the highway to pick up something at a Walmart or whatever. So, but yeah,
We're a commuter location.
yeah.
I mean, we have a number of commuters that are coming into town every day. So,
I'm in agreement with you though on the council. I believe the council needs to focus. We have a major task ahead of us the next 5 years, and that's the fire department. Getting the fire hall built and getting the fire department manned. And that's, if we can get it done within 4 to 5 years, I think we'll be doing great. I don't think it should take longer than that, but I think 4 to 5 is a good thing to shoot for. And that's what we as councilmen, even though I know I'm going off in a year and a half, that's what we need to focus on. That needs to be our number one focus. So, Councilwoman?
So you said there's a 3% dip in sales tax roughly?
it's running about a 3 to 4% decrease.
And have we started to receive our 1% extra?
No, we will start receiving that in July. Sales tax always runs about 2 months behind. So today I just got February's.
Okay.
So so we're always just a little behind as far as collection and payment.
So the reason that I mentioned, that I asked that is because we just gave approval to hire 6 firefighters and,
So they will not, is my understanding that you guys approved the positions. They will start the recruitment application process, but as far as start date wouldn't be till July 1. So that we'll start having those funds come in. We understand that means we may have to depend on our reserves, which is why we have them until that money starts flowing in more consistently. So there's just gonna be it's just gonna be a few months behind. But yeah, that money will start coming in July, which will fund those firefighters.
so not that I'm expecting answers today, Emily, and for you to just pull these numbers out of the air, but so what would a 3 to 4% reduction in the fire department's budget look like?
63, about somewhere around 60 to 50 to 70,000, depending on what we pull in. I think we're forecast for like 2 to 2.3 million on the,
Yes.
Sales tax,
Yeah,
so-
it was forecasted at 2.4 for what should be bringing in. So 3% off, 4% off of that.
And
It's really nominal. So when you look at the current budget, if you just kind of round up and say that the current fire department budget's $1 million and you got 2.4 coming in on top of that, 3% of that is $100,000. So it's not a huge amount. I think we're being aggressive with our communication at the moment,
Right.
and really planning for the future. I agree. I mean, I think all of us agree. The assistant city manager's been talking about it for some time now that we can anticipate a recession. I mean, it just makes a lot of sense. So you guys should be aware, and you may not want to pull the staffing off the fire department. You might want to pull the staffing from somewhere else if you're going to kind of, do something like that. But there's no even like at this moment, it could be statistically not relevant.
okay,
Just so you know, it may normalize.
Yeah.
We're not
Yeah.
talking about a large number. We're talking about thousands of dollars at the moment.
Not millions.
Yeah, and we just want you guys to be aware that we're venturing into uncharted territories with what looks like a failing economy, a number of layoffs, and then rising costs of construction paired with us wanting to build a $23 million building, and just to be very cognizant of that. So, and which we're being too, because
Yeah. I'm bringing the doom and gloom.
But I want you to finish your thought, obviously, because I am kind of curious to what you're thinking, because we had a meeting earlier today specifically about staffing the fire department and talking about the fact that we may not get qualified. We may not get 6 qualified applicants, and what are we going to do at that point? And so there's still plenty of time to pare things down to 4, maybe, just because we're concerned about this, or more information becomes available, because you technically will get, we won't receive till July,
Mhm.
hypothetically, but I'm guessing that then you still have to book that, like,
Yeah, what's in July will actually count for 24-25.
so we will have some money, like we
So
will
that'll
have
go into
extra.
reserve.
Yeah.
That will go into our reserves because I have to accrue it back. So July and August payments are actually accrued back to the previous year and would go into reserves.
And
Okay.
and you have a line item that you guys might want to play with, where you're actually, you're getting separation. Emily's separating the monies coming in, and so you'll be able to tell how much of that new sales tax is going to have its own line item.
Yeah.
So that you can say, okay, we want to apply that to the shortage that's coming in the following year. But anyway, please finish your thought.
thank you. I feel so much better now.
There's nothing at the moment. It's just really more of like, is this statistically something? We want to make you aware of it so that we're not, we're trying to act like more of a private business and less like a government when we talk about finances, not like, oh my God, we lost $2 million. What happened?
Yeah.
More of like, oh, we're down 3%. We should just all be aware of this. We're talking about it. And maybe the trend maybe the trend changes next month, right?
Right.
Maybe we start to see a rise in purchasing, but I don't think we expect it.
Not really.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's our last item. Is there any more discussion on item B?
I don't have anything else.
Okey doke, then we'll go ahead. Do you have anything else that you need to ask? You need any more direction, or are we giving you enough direction now to bring back item A?
Yeah.
And this was just an introduction. We
This was just an introduction.
appreciate
We
it.
will bring back budgets at a later time.
Okay,
Hey, and the overall view, I'm not gonna bore you guys with how many pencils. You know,
I know.
it's the overall view of here's what our, our revenue, our personnel and our operational.
it's a broad outlook on the
Yep.
finances.
Yep.
We thank you for that. So I'm going to go ahead then and adjourn the meeting at 2:37, actually.
232. Goes the
Excuse
other
me,
way.
2:32. Thank you. Yes, thank you.